You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday, happy Jupiter day, and happy last day of Capricorn season. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about stillness, slowness, and really soaking in these last few moments of the season before Aquarius season begins tomorrow, before the new moon in Aquarius, before all planets station direct through the weekend. So just an invitation to slow down, keep soaking in that stillness. Corby is here. Happy Thursday. Hey, Rachel. Hi, Nick. Good morning to you, Rose. I also have to acknowledge it's Dolly Parton's birthday. I mean, talk about a Capricorn powerhouse. And Dolly Parton just released a new song today for her birthday, which I love. Mac Miller also would have celebrated a birthday. Edgar Allan Poe was a Capricorn. Janis Joplin, I feel that. Katie Sagal, Robert E. Lee, Jodie Sweetin. Wow, quite a few. Paula Deen. I love finding out Sean Johnson, finding out who's a Capricorn, because it often surprises me. It surprises me. And I'm always like, what else is going on in their chart? But of course, many successful people are Capricorns. I've been really tuning into David Bowie the last day or so in our house, and lo and behold, he was a Capricorn too. Thank you, Rachel. I'm really feeling the star vibe. Yes, team slow and steady today. Grand Rising Jackie, embracing the turtle in us. Yeah, just, it's like we know the pace is going to pick up. It's probably already starting to feel that way. So taking advantage of the stillness before things really get going. The sun is in Capricorn. The moon is still technically in Sagittarius, but it will move into Capricorn in the next hour and a half. So let's dive into it. That's all we're going to be talking about today is the moon. Of course, Ziggy Stardust. Of course, the sun and Pluto are still pretty much conjunct. And actually, if you look at the current chart, the sun is at 29 degrees. The moon is at 29 degrees. I love to talk about the 29th degree, the anaretic degree. There is a feeling of restlessness, of jumpiness right now, particularly. So once the moon moves into Capricorn, that should somewhat subside. However, the energy, as we'll talk about it, you might feel like, okay, like let's just go already. Like let's just commit to something in the next season. I'm going to caution you against that. Take your time, slow and steady. We still want to soak in that Capricorn energy. But with the sun at 29 degrees all day, conjunct Pluto, we've been feeling this death and rebirth. And it's like we just want to get to the rebirth part already. Okay? Like we just want to start over again or have the new beginning or be refreshed. It's coming. It's coming. If there's anything that Capricorn season teaches us, it's patience. Yeah, I'm still laying in bed. Love this confirmation. Full permission to just rest today. Okay, so let's talk about the moon in Sagittarius really quickly. We've been feeling this Sagittarius moon for the past couple days, the waning crescent moon, inviting us to let go, surrender, release, and trust. There is freedom and optimism and growth in the surrender, in the letting go. Overnight, 2 a.m., the moon formed a sextile to Saturn. So most of us probably didn't feel this too much. 2 a.m., 5 a.m. Eastern time, most of us were probably asleep. But if you did happen to feel the influence of the moon sextile Saturn, if you were awake or maybe late last night, very early this morning, when the moon forms this supportive angle to Saturn, it helps us to integrate lessons, to embrace maturity, responsibility, waking up, being like, okay, I know what I've got to do today, and being able to align with that obligation. Okay, I can adult right now. I can do what I got to do, check off the list. There's a natural determination, wanting to achieve our goals, wanting to move forward, but also acknowledging, again, all the lessons we've learned and the wisdom we've gained. So that's the only connection, the last connection the Sagittarius moon made overnight. And then right now, technically, the moon is void from 2 a.m. to 11 a.m. or about 11 a.m. Pacific time. The moon is void. So we're currently under a void moon right now. And another invitation to start the day slow, tie up any unfinished business. If you are feeling that eagerness, that restlessness, wanting to start something new, hold off. It's never a good idea to embark on a new endeavor, start a new project under the void moon if you can avoid it, because the saying goes that nothing significant will come from anything started under a void moon. So hold off until the moon enters Capricorn if you really are wanting to make progress or move forward. But even so, when the moon moves into Capricorn, we're talking about a dark moon, the last phase of the moon before the new moon. The dark moon is a time of darkness, stillness, depth. So especially in the sign of Capricorn, it's like, okay, let's just be still, go within, and wait it out. I wish I was in bed, Rachel says. Neptune definitely helped with sleep. Great. I had a weird dream about someone pressuring me to use my credit card for them. Super weird. That is interesting. I'm sure there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah, Jackie's had weird dreams too. Hey, Katie. I think the dream was about using my boundaries when needed and paying attention to my finances. Interesting, that happened with Saturn's influence. Yeah, like it almost feels like that. Hey, do you need to pay attention to like your own boundaries? Yeah, or do you need to restrict your spending or pay attention to, it's almost like take a look at your checkbook. You know, that feels like Saturn energy. Yeah. Jackie was literally laying awake at 2 a.m. when that transit happened, thinking about everything I had to do today. Makes so much sense. Turned off my show, forced myself to go to sleep. Yep, that would be Saturn. That would be Saturn. Katie, a very Saturnian friend over here, says she's feeling very goal-oriented, having to slow down. Not everyone in my house has speed or motivations, which is hard. Doing some gardening this morning. Yeah, Saturn for you is like, okay, Katie, let's get going. We got stuff to do, you know, but knowing the next couple days, well, especially today, it just feels like that waiting period. Yeah, great interpretation of Rachel's dream, for sure. Checked her bank account this morning. I'm paying attention, yeah. Went to bed at 2 a.m. after beating my friends at Magic Cards. Yeah, Saturn at 2 a.m. might have been like, okay, kind of that father figure. Like, it's time to go to bed. Okay, so speaking of Saturn, it almost feels like when the Sagittarius moon connected with Saturn, it's like a little preview of the Capricorn moon because Saturn rules Capricorn. But let's talk about this dark moon in Capricorn. As I was touching on, the dark moon is stillness, is darkness, you know, having that moment to pause. And with this happening on the last day of Capricorn season, I really feel a lot of reflection coming up. Yes, Mercury is now direct, but still in its shadow period and still pretty much at a standstill. I mean, let's look at the chart. Mercury still at 8 degrees. Yeah, not moving right now. And so in the stillness of Mercury, in the darkness of the dark moon, I feel an opportunity to reflect on the lessons we have been learning during Capricorn season. It almost feels like with Capricorn being the sea goat, we've been climbing the mountain, we've been climbing, and now we can just take a moment to stop and look down at the journey we've taken and the lessons we learned along the way, the obstacles we overcame. So this being the last day, the last moon phase before a new beginning, before this Aquarius new perspective energy floods us, I feel like we're just being invited to find wisdom in the stillness. Capricorn energy is very much associated with wisdom and longevity. So, what have we learned over the long term? Reflecting on the past. Capricorn is the ruler of time, or Saturn, I should say, is the ruler of time, but Saturn rules Capricorn. So just really getting still and reflecting on the time that's passed and the lessons you've learned in that time. I will say the moon is in detriment in Capricorn. It's in its weakest position here. So we are more concerned with like logical analysis, making sense of things, than we are with feeling it all and nurturing our emotions, right? So you might find yourself in the reflection, like putting A and B together and logically assessing the lessons, the wisdom. Oh, okay, this makes sense now why I had to go around that obstacle or overcome that thing to get to this point. So might feel a little more logical today than emotional, but rest, find stillness, allow yourself the space to put the pieces together. We have two different connections. Hey, Elena, two different connections to talk about with the Capricorn moon. So I'll pull it up on the chart and show you. We'll jump ahead, see what we are working with. Okay, this should be close enough. At about 4 p.m. Pacific time, here we go. The moon in Capricorn is going to square Jupiter in Aries. Jupiter is a lot. Jupiter is excess, abundance, optimism. And the Capricorn moon squaring Jupiter feels like it's easy to overcommit. Capricorn likes to plan ahead and have the long-term goal in mind. And Jupiter squaring the moon might make it feel like it's going to be fine. Just plan. Just commit to that thing in a couple weeks. You'll be good. We're a little overly optimistic, especially with the moon in leadership-oriented Capricorn, Jupiter in very headstrong, also forward-moving Aries, can make us very ambitious, overly ambitious with this tense square, like almost forcing us, like, you got to have the plan. You've got to, like, we can do it. We'll do it. We'll just make the plan. But you might find yourself committing to things that in a week, 2 weeks, even a couple days don't necessarily feel aligned. So on this day when the sun is at the anaretic degree, just full permission to be like, can I get back to you tomorrow? Can I think it over and give you an answer on Monday? I mean, you don't have to tell people, I'm going to wait till after the new moon, unless they're as woo-woo as we are, but then they'll understand. But Jupiter is all about the big picture. Capricorn is about the long term. So we're more concerned with the big picture when the moon squares Jupiter, but it's really easy to overlook the details, or with the moon and Capricorn, not be as tapped into our intuition and just let our rational mind take over, overestimating our abilities, overcommitting to future plans. So beware of the tendency to be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that in a couple weeks. Who knows how you're going to feel? Or, if you're trying to check in with your intuition and you're not really feeling a solid yes or no, again, finding the ability to be the leader of your own life, the captain of your own ship, and being like, I'm going to get back to you on that. And when the moon squares Jupiter in general, anytime it's in, regardless of what signs the planets are in, it's easy to be over generous too. So again, coming back to that theme of like overcommitting or being like, yeah, I just want to help you. Just hold off. Just hold off. Rachel says, I feel like I'm finally starting to become more and more comfortable in stillness. It takes practice, right? Especially For those of us with a lot of Mercury energy who just want to like go and do, finding it easier to just turn off my brain and stay present. Yeah, it is a practice. Meditation would be really beautiful under the dark moon as well. Maybe a guided meditation, because as I mentioned, it might be kind of hard to tap into your own intuition, but having someone else guide you and help you kind of process things could be really beautiful today. Katie says it's challenging for me to be compassionate today. Good for you for acknowledging that. Gonna give everybody a wide berth. There you go. Yeah. And I'm so glad you said that, Katie, because as we've been talking about the moon squaring Jupiter and the potential to overcommit or overextend ourselves, what can that lead to? Resentment, right? So when the moon squares Jupiter, you might feel like you have to say yes, or you have to commit to something farther out than you want to. That's not going to be good for anybody, right? Like if it's not a 100% yes, it's a no for now. You don't have to commit today. You don't have to commit today. Okay, and the last connection the dark moon will make on this Thursday, this Jupiter day, is a conjunction to Mercury right around midnight. So the theme of processing definitely coming up as the night goes on. You can see the moon and Mercury together in Capricorn, and this really feels like it's helping propel Mercury forward. That doesn't scientifically make sense, but emotionally, it's like, okay, the insights are coming through. We're making sense of things. We're journaling about it. We are talking about it late tonight. Mentally processing our emotions comes very easily when the moon forms a conjunction to Mercury. So, this can be really helpful under the serious, practical Capricorn moon to have Mercury there too, to just be like, okay, we might as well lean into our mind because we're not super tapped into all the fuzzy feel-good energy. Insights, downloads late tonight, especially if we're willing to be still, like Rachel was just saying, to go within, to even just shut ourselves in a dark or dim room and be like, is there anything else I need to process? Meditation would be, again, a very powerful way to use this moon conjunction to Mercury, because you're allowing, personally, I love guided meditations, you're allowing someone else's words to help you process. So leaning into words, whether it's through speech or writing, leaning into communication of some sort to process your emotions. That's your greatest asset. Having a journal nearby, just giving yourself the time, the space, the stillness to process late tonight. Yeah, how that aligned with the it always does, right? Rachel says, interesting. My mom asked me for a favor yesterday that would happen in a couple months. Okay, now I see what you're saying. Honestly, not feeling it. I just don't want to add any more to my plate. So you had the message come through. Just tell her, hey, let me think it over. I can't commit to that right now. Boundaries. Okay. Your dream last night about the credit card, right? Someone trying to use your credit card. Take this if it resonates, but it feels like, energy. Money is currency. It's energy. Someone trying to take your energy and you being like, no, I don't want you to take my energy right now, right? Like boundaries. So your subconscious was already processing like, that doesn't feel good for me. And it's so hard when it's a parent or someone we love, right? But honor yourself first, and just sometimes the kindest thing we can do, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, is to be like, I just can't commit to that right now. Because again, what happens when we say yes to things we really want to say no to? It leads to resentment. It builds walls between people. It might make the energy feel more weird with you and your mom down the road. So I feel like that is so on point with your dream. Again, take it if it resonates, not trying to project my analysis onto you, but yeah, that's super powerful. Yeah, rage on a page. If you got a lot of, it's the dark moon, the last day of Capricorn season, like anything that feels like it's stuck within you or that hasn't come out yet or that hasn't been processed, let it out, rage on the page, talk to somebody about it today. Could be super cathartic and just help you have that fresh perspective and that fresh start that comes during Aquarius season and the new moon. Wow. Yeah, Rachel says that it's exactly what I said. Thank you for putting that together for me. That's a theme that's been coming up for me, just commitment with my family. And just maybe asking yourself, like, okay, I'm someone who wants to be committed and wants to be involved, and you're a beautiful person. What kind of commitment would feel good to me? Even being like, can I give you an answer in a week? That is some level of commitment, so maybe reframing commitment too could be helpful for you. All right, those are the transits. Still feeling that Sun-Pluto conjunction. I want to remind you again, so there's still a lot of transformation, illuminating emotions and thoughts that have been hiding in the shadows, bringing the conscious to the unconscious, shining light on the darkness. Very much the themes that have been coming up for a lot of us and that we're feeling. It's really cool that is kind of how we're ending Capricorn season, like bringing light to the darkness. It's very dark season. Aquarius season feels like being able to see the light again. The days start to get longer. The light starts to come out a little bit more. Yes, it's still winter, but we're starting to feel hopeful and at least envision for the spring and the summer again. So Pluto and the sun coming together, it's like getting that glimpse of rebirth and that light, but still being in the darkness, And that's a great point to come back to today's affirmation. I find wisdom in stillness. There is a lot to be learned and gained from just getting quiet, closing your eyes even, just blocking out the outside world and allowing you to be still with yourself. Might be uncomfortable. As Rachel was saying, she's learning to get more comfortable in her own silence, in her own stillness. And gosh, I'm so grateful for all of you sharing your experiences. It's so empowering for those of us who feel the same things, right? But I challenge you today on this last day of Capricorn season to just, even if it's 5 minutes, putting a 5-minute timer on your phone, close your eyes, lay down, and do nothing. See what comes through. Put on a 10-minute guided meditation. Close your eyes and see what comes through. Giving yourself the gift of stillness today. And we'll finish up this quick episode with a card pull from the Light Seers Tarot. Feels fitting as we embrace the darkness and anticipate the light to come in Aquarius season. Yeah. Ooh, Rachel, I love that. She says, I feel like this week is like a, hey, did you learn things during Capricorn season for me? Yeah, I totally feel that. So much review, core wounds coming up, forcing me to put what I learned into action. Yes. Yeah. It's that Saturn Capricorn energy, right? Like, did you learn it? Do we need to review it again? And it's okay if you do need to review it again, but really like solidify the lessons that came through. Today's the day to do it. Yeah, what a time. It's been a wild Capricorn season. Capricorns get the stereotype of being boring, but man, Capricorn season has not been boring for me. And there's been a lot of changes happening, It's like, whoa. Card flipped over, and guess what card it is? The Hermit. I just have to laugh because we're talking about stillness, darkness, going within. The Hermit feels so on point. And it's even like this girl, she kind of looks like me actually. This girl just like sitting by herself, being the light in the darkness, right? We needed that card. Yeah. Okay. Let's find out what wisdom the guidebook has for us about the Hermit. Inner reflection, meditation, contemplation, soul searching, inner wisdom, spiritual mentor, finding your guide within. Yes, please. Taking time away from the chaos of a busy life and hermiting. It's time to make space for your sacred aloneness and self-care. If you are feeling disconnected from your spiritual north, this time of solitary withdrawal will help you connect with your own compass. Soul purpose, spiritual awakening, and deep inner wisdom spring from this energy. Sometimes we run the risk of being so introspective that we lose our connections to others, or worse, we can dive so deeply into our own stories of struggle that we inadvertently begin to believe that our wounds will be a part of our forever identity. In the deepest trenches of self-discovery, we must remember that our continual search for our own healing and inner truth does not mean that we are not already whole and healed. Emerge from your inner retreat with beautiful insights from spirit and allow yourself to navigate the path with your brightly illuminated heart. Inner sage, inner mentor, inner guide, show me my brightest light so that I may see with all of my heart. Okay, universe, we hear you. I mean, there could not have been a more aligned card with everything that we have talked about in this episode today. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Love when that happens, and it usually does. Stillness, yeah. And honestly, this visual on this card, just of this girl, I love that she's also sitting on the top of a mountain. Sitting on the top of a mountain. What do we say about, the moon in Capricorn, the end of Capricorn season, looking back down on the journey and finding that stillness, being on like a solo climb and like, oh, wow, look at how far I've come. Yeah, just me and my plants today. Exactly. Got to water my plants. Thank you for that reminder. Yeah, and my dog. The plants and the dog. My dogs have been super chill too. Interesting. Look at that Capricorn connection. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I hope you all enjoy this last day of Capricorn season. I'm super excited to chat with you all tomorrow about Aquarius season beginning, about the new moon in Aquarius, and to start getting course materials out to you for transit tracking. If you'd like to join us, there is still time. You can head to thespiritualjournalist.com/shop and sign up. We're going to be starting on Saturday. So if you want to learn how to apply the daily transits we talk about in these episodes to your birth chart and really become your own best astrologer, this is for you. We're going to be having multiple calls where you can ask questions. I will be at some point offering this again, but not with the live call component, probably just kind of a self-paced course with journaling prompts. So I'm really excited to meet you all, and yeah, really excited for Aquarius season. Yeah, divine alignment. That card was amazing. Aquarius season is coming. The light is coming. Just give yourself permission to hunker down and be a hermit in the dark for a little longer. I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. And until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.